Hi, One SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are going to be joined right now by SBR MLB betting writer Ian Cameron. We're going to do our regular series look-ahead show that we do. Today is Friday, April 8th, and right now we're going to be looking at the series that start early next week, Monday through Thursday. Ian Cameron, thanks for being back with us.
Great to be with you, Pete.
All right, Ian, we did this show earlier in the week, and I'll just start things off by saying I did take a small nibble on the Mets today at minus 230, or I got it on the overnight line, 227, so I didn't have to take the closer. But we discussed that series, and I did bet on the Mets in the first game in that series. And from the Monday series, I want to start with Pitt and Detroit, right? Now, Detroit's been winning, but Pitt, I'm thinking, might be a little bit overall better, and because they're on the road, have some value here. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the lines will be. Obviously, the lines here will be key, but my sense is that it might overvalue Detroit here a little bit. Again, they have been winning, the most profitable team in baseball so far over the first few games, but I'm thinking we might look to Pitt in that series. What do you think?
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Pirates, a team that you can't argue with the results so far. I mean, a perfect sweep, sweeping the St. Louis Cardinals in their first series of the season. And, you know, you look at a guy like Juan Nicasio, a guy that's been a reclamation project really for this Pirates rotation. He started his career early with the Colorado Rockies, pitching in Coors Field. He's obviously enjoying the transition to PNC Park, a more pitcher-friendly ballpark. Obviously, Coors Field, an extreme hitters ballpark. And he pitched a gem in his first start with the Pirates against the Cardinals. If they can get a guy like Nicasio pitching well for this Pittsburgh Pirates rotation to lend support to the likes of Garrett Cole, the ace, to Francisco Liriano and some of the other top starters on this Pittsburgh rotation, that's going to go a long way for this team having success. I mean, you look at this series, John Neese will get the start Monday in the opener against the Detroit Tigers. You're going to have the aforementioned Nicasio on Tuesday against Detroit. Wednesday, it's going to end up being Garrett Cole making his season debut against the Tigers. And then on Thursday's finale, Jeff Locke pitching against Mike Pelfrey for the Detroit Tigers. Now, it's important to keep in mind with the starters in this matchup, things could change. You might get, rain delays, postponements, injuries pop up at the last second that could change these. These are probable starters that are always subject to change. So it's very important to keep that in mind. But as of right now, like what I see from the Pirates, they have enough offense that I think they can get by. They're not a potent lineup like, say, the Cubs or Blue Jays, but they can score runs and hit when they need to. Solid bullpen. Detroit, on the other hand, scoring runs shouldn't be an issue for them with Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, Ian Kinsler, tons of bats in this lineup, but starting rotation still a little spotty. Bullpen is still a major concern for Detroit. It seems like year after year we're waiting for the Detroit Tigers to fix their bullpen, and they still have issues and question marks year after year. So, pitching wise, at least in this series, Peter, I'd say the edge probably would lie with the Pirates a little bit.
Okay, yeah, that's how I'm going to be looking. We'll see what the lines are. And then this weekend we have Philly at the Mets, and early next week we have Atlanta at Washington. Now, Washington obviously going to be a massive favorite in that series, but they opened the season with 2 road wins at Atlanta, not dominating wins, but I think pretty comfortable wins overall. And I'm thinking that, again, in this series, they're probably going to be a big favorite every game, but they're also probably going to win at least 3 of the 4 games. And I'm thinking Washington, even as a big favorite, might have some value over Atlanta. What do you think?
You know what? Washington's a little bit of an interesting team. I mean, they're a team that lots of pressure on them this season to bounce back. It was such a very big disappointment last year to see what happened with this Washington Nationals team. I mean, they looked like they were in control of the National League East for such a large portion of the season. And then the New York Mets just come on like a freight train late in the season and just basically snatch it right out of their grasp. And there's going to be questions about, how the psyche of this team, do they have the cojones, I guess you could say, to, when the going gets tough, when the games get more important in August and September, is this Washington Nationals team going to have the ability to dig in and play their best baseball when the chips are down and when the stakes are at their highest? That's going to be the question mark that we get with this team that we'll see if it gets answered. Congratulations to the Washington Nationals for going to Atlanta earlier this week and winning those 2 games, but the Braves stink. They're pathetic. I think there's no denying that. They're going to have a long, long season, not enough offense, questionable starting rotation and bullpen on that Atlanta team. Outside of Freddie Freeman, maybe Nick Markakis as well. It's not a great lineup there in Atlanta. So Washington doesn't get a lot of marks from me for winning those 2 games. And then, of course, they dropped the opener yesterday against the Miami Marlins at home, 6-4. So there's some concerns. I mean, they finally played a little bit of a better team Miami yesterday, they lose that game. So, I still got the jury is out for me with this Washington Nationals team. Obviously, offensively, we know how good they can be at times. The bullpen should be solid, but starting rotation-wise, how good can Steven Strasburg be as he works his way back from multiple injuries in recent years? Tanner Rourke is a guy that I have a lot of question marks about. He's still in his development. And there's just basically a lot of question marks in this starting rotation. I mean, Joe Ross, another guy with upside potential, but can he put that potential into results and production? That's a big question mark indeed. So, yeah, Peter, in terms of this series against the Atlanta Braves, team they swept at Turner Field. Now they get them again here in D.C. at Nationals Park for the rematch a week later. Washington should have their way of it, and they should have their way with it against bad teams, but it's against the good teams, against the better teams in Major League Baseball, where, for me, the jury's still out on Washington. Can you beat good teams on a consistent basis? And I think that's still something that needs to be answered.
Sure, absolutely. This is almost more of a fade of Atlanta than it is a play on Washington, and my lean, at least as of right now. Again, we will see where the lines are. And then the third series I want to bring to your attention, KC at Houston. Now, KC in general is a team that I'm looking to be overvalued, at least in spots, if not consistently. And Houston is also a team that in general I'm looking to be a little undervalued, at least in spots, if not consistently. And I'm thinking Houston at home here against KC might have some value. I just see them as a better team, a little bit more pop in the lineup, more reliable pitching. They'll be a favorite, but not too huge of a favorite overall. And I'm guessing Houston more likely than not wins 3 out of 4. What do you think?
Yeah, you're not the first person I've spoken to in terms of bettors, handicappers, just people that observe baseball that think the Kansas City Royals are taking a step back this year after winning the World Series. And, I agree with that sentiment to a certain degree. But I'm still not ready to totally underestimate this team. I mean, this is a team that, won the World Series based on heart, based on grit last year. I mean, the way they came back against this very Houston Astros team in the American League Division Series, rallying from a series deficit, rally in Game 4, that incredible 8th inning comeback that they had to storm back from being on the brink of their season being over to winning Game 4, and then they ride the momentum of that big comeback back to Game 5 and win that series at Kauffman Stadium. Tremendous resolve by this Royals team. I don't think Ned Yost is the greatest in-game manager in the world. We've seen him make some blunders in the past. I don't trust him all that much. But this team, you can't say enough about just how well they have come together. I mean, Eric Hosmer, Mike Moustakas, Salvador Perez, a great catcher. Alex Gordon's been there forever, a tremendous fielder as well. I mean, it's just a team loaded with great talent. Alcides Escobar. Go on down the list, just tremendous players on this Royals team. And don't forget, these lines are being based more than anything on starting pitching. And in starting pitching, you might give Houston a little bit of an edge in this series. Probable starters as of right now, subject to change, of course. Chris Young against Colin McHugh on Monday. Yordano Ventura against Mike Fiers on Tuesday. Chris Medlin against Scott Feldman on Wednesday. Ian Kennedy against Doug Fister on Thursday. The Astros obviously are going to come into this series, Peter, with a chip on their shoulder. Fired up to play the Royals after that crushing playoff defeat last year. However, with the lines based on starting pitching, you really have to look more at lineups, bullpen, team defense, and it's hard not to give the Royals the edge in those departments in this particular series. And for Houston starters, which were expected to be good, other than Dallas Keuchel in the opening series against the New York Yankees, it's been very disappointing so far from these Astros starters. Colin McHugh got lit up by the Yankees in his first start. Mike Fiers didn't fare that much better when he faced New York. Chris Medlin's gone back and forth from starter to reliever in the last year or so. Doug Fister's trying to work his way back into top form after some struggles, after some stints on the disabled list in recent seasons. So there's a lot of question marks with Houston's rotation behind Dallas Keuchel. I'm already getting some concern they might have to ask Dallas Keuchel to do too much for them and may not get some of these 2, 3, 4, 5 starters on this Houston rotation to do a good enough job and pull their weight. McHugh already looking like a regression candidate from the kind of season he had last year. So I've got concerns here with Houston. You factor in Kansas City, plays great team defense, as still one of the best bullpens in Major League Baseball. And, Houston's going to be motivated. Motivation for sure, but motivation doesn't always equal wins. And I think Kansas City, from a complete all-around baseball team perspective, still the better of it slightly over the Houston Astros. But I'm with you in this series being a great one. It's one worth talking about because it should be a fantastic series next week between these two teams.
All right. Fair enough. We'll see what the lines are and how it all turns out. Ian Cameron, is there anything else you'd like to bring to our attention from the upcoming series that start this Monday?
Yeah, let's talk quickly about one that we did not get to. Yankees-Jays, an AL East division battle next week. Jays, obviously a team that pulled away from the New York Yankees down the stretch last season to capture the AL East division title. And obviously the Yankees were relegated to that one-game wild card American League playoff, in which they lost in bad fashion to the Houston Astros, dominated by the aforementioned Dallas Keuchel. So the Yankees obviously are going to be up for this series. There's no question, but I think they're up against it from a matchup perspective in this three-game series at the Rogers Center Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. Michael Pineda against Aaron Sanchez, your probable starting pitching matchup for Tuesday. Nathan Eovaldi against Jay Happ for Wednesday. Luis Severino against Marcus Stroman for the series finale on Thursday. You know, the Yankees' strength to me this year, Peter, it's their bullpen. It's not their offense. It's not their starting pitching. It's their bullpen. This is one of the best bullpens in Major League Baseball. And
Even
the key
without Chapman.
success is going to be a situation, I think, where they're going to have to find these relievers and get these relievers into positions where they can close out games. I think that's going to be the key to success for the New York Yankees. Can you hand the ball off to Dellin Betances, to Andrew Miller, and eventually to Aroldis Chapman when he gets back with a lead late in the game by delivering enough offense, by getting through enough quality innings from the starters to put the bullpen in favorable late game situations? That's going to be something the Yankees are going to have to do if they're going to win games this year. But starting rotation-wise, still got question marks. Masahiro Tanaka, Michael Pineda, they've had stints on the DL. Nathan Eovaldi, you know, he's got a live arm, one of the best arms in baseball, but his quality of pitching hasn't matched the type of arm that he possesses, and he's been a disappointment, Nathan Eovaldi, for the Yankees. Luis Severino, plenty of upside and potential, but he's still young. So, you know, you look at it in this series, they're facing some pretty good Jays starters. Aaron Sanchez, Jay Happ, and Stroman all looked good for the Jays in their first start of the season. Dominance by Sanchez and Stroman in particular. They went at least 7 innings. They allowed just 4 runs in 15 innings combined in their opening start. So it could be a tough go of it for the Yankees in this series to score runs. And it's worth noting, Jays dominated the Yankees last year. How about 13-5 Toronto in 18 games against the New York Yankees last season? So it wouldn't surprise me here in this battle of AL East rivals to see the Toronto Blue Jays have a little bit of an edge.
Okay, Ian Cameron, thanks for your very in-depth thoughts. As always, we'll talk to you again very soon for the next round of series in Major League Baseball.
Enjoy the games and good luck.